All right, let's go ahead and tackle the quotient rule, which is a nice way of saying the division rule. So here's our question. If we've got f of x equals u divided by v, can we just do u prime divided by v prime? Well, let's see if that works. So let's find f prime of x to the fifth divided by x cubed. Well, we know what the actual answer is of this. The actual answer is what? Well, first of all, here, even though it is division here, we can simplify this to being x squared because we are doing the division rule of exponents where we'd be subtracting 3. This would disappear and we're left with x squared. So this function really is f of x equals x squared. And we know the actual derivative of this is 2x using our power rule where we bring this down in front and subtract 1 from there. Okay, so that's our actual answer. But what happens if we follow this rule? Does it work? And I'm hoping it does because that would make life easier. Well, if f of x equals x to the fifth over x cubed, and I use this rule, that would be 5x to the fourth. See, I just took the derivative of the top divided by the derivative of the bottom, which would be a 3x squared. Well, that simplifies to a 5/3 x squared, which is nowhere close to the answer that we're supposed to get. So this does not work. When you're taking the derivative of something that has a quotient in it, you cannot just do the derivative of the numerator divided by the derivative of the denominator. That doesn't work. Sad face for sure. Well, what do we do? Well, let's go ahead and look at this. The quotient rule says that if we have a u divided by v, it's just going to be v du dx minus u dv dx all over v squared. There's got to be a better way to write this though, right? Well, there is. That better way is written right here, where if we're taking a u divided by v, it's pretty much the product rule on top, except it's a subtraction this time. And then you divide by the denominator squared. So this is u prime v minus v prime u all over v squared. So make sure you get that down. Here's another way, and one of my old coworkers used to use this method. If you're doing high divided by low, right, think of high as the numerator because it's up higher, and low as the denominator. And if you're taking the derivative of it, you can say low d high. I'm saying d because you're taking the derivative. So this is low d high minus high d low over low low. So it's kind of a song. I'm going to do it again. Low d high minus high d low over low low. So whichever method works for you. I personally like thinking of just using the product rule with a subtraction sign divided by the denominator squared. Let's do some examples. So f prime of x in this particular case is going to be equal to the derivative of the first. I'm thinking the first as being the numerator, so that's just going to be 2x times the second, x squared plus 1, minus the derivative of the second, which is going to be a 2x, times the first, all divided by the denominator squared. So that's x squared plus 1. I'm going to pause this video and write out how to say this in words, and maybe you like that method better. All right, here you go. So here's how you would say this in words, and I do like saying it in words. The derivative of the first times the second minus the derivative of the second times the first, all over denominator squared. Or you can think of it as u prime v minus v prime u over v squared. Or high d low minus low d high divided by low low. All right, let's try this one. So here we've got y prime equals the derivative of the first, which is 2x, times the second, minus the derivative of the second. What's the derivative of that? That's just e to the x, times the first, all over denominator squared. So that'd be e to the x squared. You're welcome to leave it like that, but you should also know that e to the x squared, that's the same thing as multiplying these. This is that power rule for exponents where you multiply them. So that would actually be e to the 2x. But I'm fine with you leaving it the other way. All right, last one here. So here I've got my y prime equals, and let's do this with a u divided by v. So we've got our u prime, which is 1 over x, times our v, which is 5 to the x, minus v prime, which is going to be 5 to the x ln 5, and then times u, which is ln x, all divided by the denominator squared, which is 5 to the x squared, and we can multiply x times 2, which is 2x, and we can write this as 5 to the 2x. Although if you wanted to keep it as 5 to the x squared, you can do that as well. Thanks for watching the Quotient Rule, folks. Have a wonderful day. Bye.